What's up, YouTube? I'm Darren, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I talk about fragrance and fashion on this channel, and today I just want to talk about some fragrances in my collection that I'll never get tired of. I didn't want to highlight some of the fragrances that I talk about all the time, because you guys know about Portrait of a Lady. You know how much I love Noir Extreme from Tom Ford. You guys know how much I love Creed Aventus. You know, there's just some fragrances. Blessed Baraka, I've talked about that a lot as of late. So a lot of the fragrances on this list are some other kind of gems in my collection that I really love. I don't talk about them quite as much, but these are some fragrances that I know for a fact I will never get tired of. And I just want to talk about those 10 fragrances for a little bit. So if you want to see what's on the list of 10 fragrances that I'll never get tired of, then you know the routine. Keep it locked right here. Before we get into the video, I have a quick special announcement. This just in, Novellists Parfums has released 2 new discovery sets. 2 new discovery sets. This one in black. I gotta be honest, my favorite because of the color, man. This beautiful red and gold, red with gold embellishments. Now, each of these discovery sets come with 15 fragrances. So if you get both, you will have a chance to sample every fragrance, you heard me correctly, every fragrance that Novellists Parfums has put out so far. The ones that I did with Novellists, Steven, Big Beard Business, CJ City, Monica, Dallas, everybody's fragrances are going to be included in this discovery set. And that's not all. The sets are even going to include the newest releases from Steven and Big Beard. So if you haven't had a chance to smell those, you'll have a chance to smell those fragrances because they're included in these 2 new discovery sets. Now, as I said, both of them have 15 5 ml samples in each of the discovery sets. If you get the black one, there's fragrances in here like from Steven's initial collection, Novice, Primus. You also have Carte Blanche from Monica Cho. You also have the newest ones from Big Beard, Siesta Drive and The Key, as well as the newly named Lyric, which is formerly known as Oud from my collection. So all those fragrances are actually in the first discovery set in the black. And if you get this one in the red, you will have Serenade from my collection is included in this one, as well as some of the oud fragrances from Steven's first collection, The Embrace, which is one of my favorites, and Blaze from Steven's new collection, Imperial, as well as XO Brandy from Big Beard's new collection. So again, guys, 15 5 ml samples in these discovery sets. Now they retail for $145 for each set, but for a limited time they are running a discount. If you buy one set, it will retail right now for $72.50, but if you buy both, it will be $55. So basically you can spend $110 and get both of these sample sets. Now, in my opinion, is the time to get these. I'll make sure I link it down below where you guys can check it out. But I needed to show you the highlight of these fragrances. And that is the pressurized atomizer. Now, oftentimes one of the main things that I don't like about a lot of these samples that I get, especially the dabbers, that's out of the question. I can't stand those. But the fact that the sprayers on the atomizers make it difficult sometimes to really spray the fragrance and control it. But inside this discovery set, first of all, look inside that box. Okay? Check that out. It has a list of all the fragrances that are included in the sets, as well as with some of the main notes and accords in each of the fragrances that are included. Okay? So take a look at that. Now also, each fragrance comes in its own small individual box, but let me get to this atomizer. I just want to show you guys the atomizer. This thing is gorgeous. Check this out. Check that out, man. That is just absolutely beautiful. And let me spray it one time so you can see the pressurized atomizer. So it controls the mist just like you get from the regular bottle. So that is a feature that I love about these fragrances. This is Acqu, by the way, and this stuff smells absolutely amazing. So guys, go ahead and check these out. Again, 15 5 ml samples in each box, and right now you can get one for $72.50 or both for $55 each. I'll link it down in the description box if you want to check these out. All right, guys, we're back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. We're going to jump right into the video. As I said, my name is Darian. I'm the Bowtie Fragrance Guy, and this channel talks about all things fragrance related, and I also give some style tips as well. So if that sounds interesting to you, consider subscribing to the channel, and also make sure you hit the bell icon as well, so that way you get notified when I upload new content on the channel. So guys, the first fragrance up on the list, I got this for my birthday this year, and I've been loving every minute of having this in my collection. And this is from the house of Louis Vuitton, and this is called L'Immensité. This one is called L'Immensité, and what I love about this is just the simplicity of this fragrance, to be honest with you. It's one of those scent DNAs that I just know will never get old. This one will never get old. There'll never be a bad time to wear a fragrance like this, because it's just a kind of citrusy fragrance with some character. And those kind of fragrances tend to really be mass appealing, plus fragrance that you can wear pretty much anytime, any place, anywhere. And I really value fragrances like that have the versatility that this scent does. It's highly complimented, and like I said, there's not really a bad time to wear it. So I really like the DNA of this fragrance. This was one of the first ones that I smelled from Louis Vuitton that I really took a liking to. Of course, it has that ambroxan in it as well, which is, you know, kind of reminiscent of some of the things they've been doing in the designer world, but on a more niche level. So this one was one that I will always cherish and always have in the collection from the house of Louis Vuitton. This is called L'Immensité. All right, guys, the next one on this list that fits this description as well is from the replica line. This is By the Fireplace. By the Fireplace, very nostalgic fragrance for me. Reminds me of my earlier days reviewing fragrances. You know what it is? It's the smoky, smokiness, the chestnut, and the whole nine. So you guys have probably heard a lot about this fragrance before, but it's one that smells great, and for nostalgic reasons is one that I will never get tired of. You know, there's been some other fragrances that have come out that have been similar to By the Fireplace, but they aren't By the Fireplace. They don't really have that same smokiness and that roasted chestnut accord. So this is still, to an extent, a very unique scent DNA that I really love and cherish. And the longer I have it, the better it's getting. The juice has actually gotten a little bit darker from when I first got it about 2 years ago. So one I will always love and cherish in the collection from the house of Replica. This is By the Fireplace. All right, guys, the next fragrance on the list comes from the house of Kilian, and this one is called Single Malt. Single Malt. Now this one is a fragrance by Kilian that nobody really talks about. It's kind of similar to me to Apple Brandy, which of course gets more love. You have Apple Brandy, then you have Apple Brandy on the Rocks that even introduced some people to the original Apple Brandy that wasn't really that familiar with it. But this one again is very close in the scent DNA to Apple Brandy, but it's different. There is a wheat accord in here, and I can't really even describe what it does to this fragrance, but I can just tell you that it's really good. I received this fragrance about 3 years ago on my birthday. I was actually going through a tough time in my life at the time, and it reminds me of where I was and where I am now. So again, there's some nostalgia to this one as well. I love this scent from the house of by Kilian. Again, this is called Single Malt. The next fragrance on the list is one that I've talked about for a long time and often on the channel, although I haven't mentioned it as much lately. But guys, this is my baby right here. This is Creed Original Santal. Original Santal, a batch from 2015. And you guys know how much I love this fragrance. This is one of my first real fragrance loves. You know, outside of the things that I used to wear before I really started collecting hardcore, when I really got into collecting, one of my first niche purchases, and again, I can never get tired of this kind of DNA because you got the freshness, you got the juniper berry that gives that kind of, that slight booziness, the same kind of booziness, of course, you get from more gin, like a gin, and you know, you got the cinnamon, the sandalwood, that creaminess on the dry down. I love this stuff. I could never get tired of this fragrance. And like I said, I haven't talked about this as much as of late. So one, of course, I will never get tired of, from the house of Creed. This is Original Santal. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list, this one actually comes from the YSL Private Collection, and this one is called Cabane. Cabane. Now, a lot of people, and I always say this, they really talk about Tuxedo when they talk about the private line from YSL, and I get it. Tuxedo is an amazing fragrance, but this is just as good to me. The highlights of this one to me are that creamy sandalwood. You have some tonka bean in this, so of course it's sweet. There's something in here that kind of smells like coconut, almost the same thing that you get from Gris Charnel from BDK Parfums. So you have that going, and this as well, slightly peppery, spiciness from pepper, black pepper when it opens up, and some patchouli. So again, this is one that to me is just as good. And again, I really like sandalwood, so I really enjoy this DNA. I love Gris Charnel. I love this. I love Sacred Wood from by Killian. Amazing sandalwood fragrance from the house of YSL. Again, this is called Cabane. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list comes from the house of Diptyque, and this is called Philisicos. Philisicos from the house of Diptyque, and simply put, this is the most amazing fig-based fragrance I've ever smelled. It has fig leaf as well as fig in this scent, and this stuff is just amazing. That fig is one of the notes within the past 6 months that I really started to pay more attention to. And man, this is really good. I know a lot of people are aware of Fico di Amalfi, and that's really good. Fico di Amalfi is really good, trust me. But I like this one even more from the house of Diptyque. So it is such a pleasant fragrance. And what I love about fig, I'm learning, is that fig to me gives this fruity but also creaminess to fragrances, and it's something that just from my palate personally, I personally enjoy fig most of the time when it's used in fragrances. So check this one out, guys. I know a lot of folks used to talk about it back in the day. It doesn't get as much talk now, but it deserves it. From the house of Diptyque, again, this is called Philisicos. All right, the next fragrance on this list actually comes from the house of Frappin, and this is called 1270. 1270, and I know this fragrance has some performance issues, and I'm cool with that because it smells so good. I just reapply it. It's not that expensive where I'm like super disappointed that it's not a great performer. Now, don't get me wrong, I wish that it performed better. It would probably be in my top 10 fragrances of all time. But with that being said, I still love it. It just smells amazing. It's boozy, it's slightly resonant, slightly balsamic. Something that you really have to put your nose on. Again, you can go heavy on this one with the sprays because it's a really, really mild scent, but it's good. So this is one that I will always love and never get tired of from the house of Frappin. This is called 1270. All right, guys, the next fragrance on this list is one I've talked about enough over the past 6 months from the house of YSL. This is L'Homme Le Parfum. L'Homme Le Parfum. Simply put, when you talk about a DNA that probably will never go out of style, this is it right here. It has the original L'Homme, again, with that kind of ambroxan from Sauvage, Dior, Dylan Blue kind of thing going on. Yeah, that's this, combined with the L'Homme DNA. It really just comes out to be a winning combination when you talk about a very mass appealing, highly complimented, easy to wear kind of fragrance. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with a fragrance fitting all of those descriptions. So it's one that I've really grown to love. One of my favorite grab and go kind of go-to fragrances from the house of YSL. Again, this is called L'Homme Le Parfum. All right, guys, now you know this, so say it with me. Oud wood is what? Oud good. Never will get tired of this scent DNA. I haven't worn it as much as I did maybe a year ago, and coming back to it is even better than experiencing it the first time. This one has some great memories attached to it as well. When the first time I wore it on my wife's birthday. We went to like this movie it was a different kind of environment, but it was like a dine-in kind of movie kind of situation. But it was really, really fun, and she really enjoyed me wearing this fragrance that night. So there's some memories attached to this one as well. But the scent DNA is really what is all about with this one as well. It's just one that's well done. Perfect fragrance to wear for a person like me. So from the house of Tom Ford, one I will never get tired of is this one, and it's Oud wood. And last but not least on this list, this fragrance actually comes from the house of Ormond Jane, and this is called Mont Tobacco. Mont Tobacco, if you are a fan of tobacco-based fragrances, this is just something you have to experience. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the original Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme, but a lot of folks talk about the original batches of Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme and how good it was and how the newer batches of it is kind of watered down. I can only imagine this is probably what the original batches of Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme probably smell like. You get a lot more of that tobacco, but it's more like this powdery, leafy tobacco. Again, similar to, but on another scale, similar to what you might find kind of in Dolce & Gabbana, I'm sorry, in Versace The Dreamer as well. That kind of leafy tobacco leaf more so, but this stuff is good, man. This stuff is so good. It's such a gentlemanly scent. And again, if you're a person like me that really likes tobacco, it's one that you have to get your nose on. It's phenomenal. From the house of Ormond Jane. Again, this is called Mont Tobacco. All right, guys, that's it. That's my time. I hope you enjoyed the list today as I gave you 10 fragrances in my collection that I will never get tired of. As always, I appreciate your time and attention to these videos. You don't have to watch, but you do, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to take a few moments to go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And share these videos out to some other folks that you think could use this information or find it entertaining. Because I'm your guy, the bow-tie fragrance guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.